What's going on YouTube? Earth Power here, CVH.
How's it going, everybody?
And we're back for another top 8 match in the 2023 Season 1 bracket tournament using the finished meta to find the best deck. Today we have the top 8 match between Phantomach and Totem Midrange.
We do. I'm going to jump right on in a second. And this was you and Gorby, actually.
Yeah. So we had the bracket at the start of this. We will spoil the end of this. The first two, I say spoil the end of this. We'll spoil how those first two top 8 matches went ahead of this one. This is the third top 8 match, if you will.
If you haven't
guys have been following-
seen Fallon Pegasus or Declotans and Hydras, as soon as this match ends, get out of here and go watch those so you don't get spoiled.
Right, because the updated challenge bracket, as far as where we stand in the top 8, will be updated with this match results as well. So,
yeah.
Little pre-thoughts on this match. Phantomach continues to feel strong. I think at this point I still wasn't quite bought into it.
But unfortunately, you were doing this down in Virginia Beach, and I wasn't around to play Phantomach, so you had to play it. You were forced.
Gorby's baby is the Totem Midrange. That's the deck that he's kind of been that's grown on him since we started playing back in November, late October, early November. So he felt comfortable piloting it, and so here he is piloting it.
So this is kind of cool because it's two of the, I would say, the two mid-rangiest decks in the whole bracket. These are aggressive decks for sure, but they slow things down. They both play some, disruption and ways to make their board annoying. Actually, they both play Pela, Oasis, and Mysterios, so some similarities there for sure. And they can both interact with the opponent's boards in some interesting ways, either through tap, Rothus the Traveler, Terra Pits, etc. So as you can see, they're both off to kind of a slow start. And in round 1, Phantomach played against Water, Fire, Nature, Tempo, which is a little bit faster for sure, and Totem Midrange played against the slowest deck in the bracket, Deck Out. So this is its first test against a more real, legit, well, not legit, but a more normal strategy. Deck Out's kind of an odd one out.
Yeah, I think this is the one matchup where Totem Midrange wants to see Techno Totem, like at least more than in other matches per se. Techno Totem tends to be kind of the biggest card on board early, and in a mid-range mirror, that card can do a lot of work.
Yeah, Gorby's off to an immensely slow start here, and he must be getting mana screwed because he's putting like Pig and Pela and mana, maybe just not seeing it at the right time. Like the Mysterios coming down as the first creature is so bad in a deck with Quixotics and Pelas and Lukia Lex. He would love to see any of those, I imagine.
And me using Rothus there to just go ahead and get rid of Mysterios with as slow of a start as he had, I figured at that point, 4,000 bodies on board. The only thing I'm afraid of is Terra Pit at this point. So why not start swinging? It's going to take a lot for Gorby to find momentum in this match at this point, this late in the game, and I still have a hand. So, cards, if he wants to get defensive, I also have cards like Terra Pit and all that, and I'm not worried about Petrova at this point. So,
but even then, like, you played Rothus the Traveler, and you converted your 2-drop into a nice little Crimson Hammer on his 5-drop Mysterios, and your stuff is just bigger than Petrova right now. It's scary, and another Rothus would definitely just kill it. Phantomach here can just break all of the shields.
Yeah, and that's like where I knew I was trying to go with everything. So, with the card that I feared him playing that turn would have been Cryptic Totem. Him not having a first shield pit was incredibly important. And now he just, if he has to waste a whole turn getting rid of Gigapi Ponto, again, that still keeps momentum on my side, even if he clears board, because he's just so far behind at this point.
He doesn't have a single blocker or Terra Pit, and Gigapi Ponto is just going to Gigapi get in there and take the game, right?
Yeah, I think we're having that conversation about how he doesn't have removal.
Unless he just does. Yeah, the only thing to debate here would be like, talk about past lines in the game, but he's pretty much dead on board. I think maybe there was some questions about like, oh yeah, I think I remember in the raw audio he was debating like a play that he made earlier in the game, like maybe he didn't play something that he maybe could have, like the mana decision early kind of bit him or something like that. But I mean, with Light Dark Nature Totem midrange or like any midrange deck, if your first play is on turn 5, you're likely not doing so hot, you know? Because he's got like not only the cards I mentioned, like Pela, Lucia, Quixotic. He has Locomotivers in the deck. Techno Totem as a raw play, 4 for 5,000. That's good. It contests the board. It beats up Ponto. So
And
yeah, that was a rough
Gorby and
start.
I had, because Gorby had the least familiarity with these decks up until this point, every match that Gorby and I played the night that we recorded, Totem versus Deck Out, Phantomach versus this, we pre-gamed 2 to 3 games prior to turning the camera on just to get a feel for the matchup, just to give Gorby kind of a little bit of insight into just kind of what these matchups felt like because he was wholly unfamiliar with Phantomach, similar to how I was prior to us playing, a few games off camera with different decks. And, Gorby didn't even have that. So, the 2 games I think we played off camera of this matchup prior, I think we went 1-1. And they were both relatively slow games. I think I missed my, 2-drop on both of those, and I think one of the games I didn't even have Ponto. So,
Yeah, here's a
that
cool start.
slower matchup was kind of where we were. Yeah.
Yeah, here's a cool start from Gorby. He's got the Lara Giga into Pela, which actually makes it trading with Ponto if you decide to attack prematurely. And then Lucky Lex comes down as the biggest thing currently on board, and that's really hard for you to interact with. It untaps, obviously, so it requires tap, but he has blockers, and it gets bigger because of the Pela. So kind of an incredible start for Gorby. That's what I would want to see.
Part of the conversation too, just in some of the raw audio, is that technically, like outside of Totem and Lucky Lex, his deck should beat mine on board pretty consistently. Lucky Lex will typically be bigger than anything I can play prior to turn 5.
Yeah.
So
if you're wondering why he didn't attack there, it's probably because Phantomach has about 18 shield triggers, and Gorby now has Totem, which allows him to play more of a board control game. He's likely looking to kill off that Pela Oasis next turn, and then maybe chip away at the other creatures before you run out of a hand, and then start going in 1 or 2 turns, or maybe just wait until he has Cryptic Totem for the ultimate safety net. So definitely not going to see him chip away in this matchup.
My deck doesn't have an answer on board before turn 6 to Totem, so he knows he's safe, even attacking. Unless I'm able to drop Phantomach and swing at it if he doesn't have any blockers, which he does. So Totem, it just allows him to basically just pick off cards on my board for as long as he wants to while he continues to build board. So I'm at a constant minus while he does that. And my hand is kind of very similar to, I think, how Gorby's was the game prior, where I don't really have game changers on board. Even if I had Rothus, it's not going to do too much.
Yep.
So he plays Petrova there. He calls Guardian, so everything on his board is just massive.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the most, besides Petrova, the lowest thing on the board is now Halo is 6,500. That's
and on his turn 8,500. So that Lara Giga's got a power.
Pela doesn't buff it. I said Pela. Pela's 65.
Riot has 6,000 power though.
Oh, Pela's actually at 65, but it actually gets plus power for Techno Totem. Totem says whenever it's tapped. Oh no, that's power attack. Never mind. Yeah.
Power attack. Right, correct.
So Pela's the lowest.
Giving Lara Giga and Lucia and Petrova power on his turn, or on my turn. But that's a 6,000 power Mr. Rios, which is pretty cool. Fortunately, it doesn't really matter too much because of the Pela. And he's like,
I'll just play my own.
Yeah.
And looks like he's killing yours immediately. Makes sense to me.
Yep.
And yeah, there isn't really any wide removal in either of these decks besides, his plays Holy Awe. At the time, yours is playing Kolan instead. Even if you had Holy Awe, it's not like you have an amazing board to kill too many things. You kill Petrova, maybe? No, because it's even bigger than use Assault with the Pela. Yeah, it's really rough for you. Terrapitting the Pela, kind of interesting to not go for Mystrios here. Never mind, you change your mind.
Yeah, we get rid of the card. I feel like at this point I just have to somehow win a top deck war. I'm just so far behind. It doesn't feel winnable, but I'm just basically trying to set myself up for as much success and hoping that, maybe in the next turn or two, if Gorby hits a couple of key shield triggers, I might be able to force a 2-turn kill.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where, like, the decks don't do they don't have too many tricks up their sleeve. So really, like, if you're able to go twice as wide as your opponent and your creatures are twice as big, still have 5 shields, you're pretty much winning, unless he gets really greedy. But I think he probably knows the right thing to do is just kind of dirtle and then find the
Yeah,
totem
absolutely.
or a soul
He's
swap.
yeah, he's got me very dead on board. So I think he kept forgetting to untap Lucky Elix. I think
That's the first
that's
time you
one.
forgot it.
Is it the first time?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think you were just dead on board and upset, so you touched his cards.
Sounds
Like,
right.
take my fingerprints, Gorby.
He didn't
Yeah.
even tap it that
No,
time.
not even. That's the savage BM right there. Yeah, Gigabalza. He's like, I'll wait until you play a card before I draw, so you don't discard my ghost card. Um, yeah, he's just I could see, like, maybe you don't need totem, maybe you just need, like, he can hit one shield trigger at a time very comfortably here, but top decking into the soul swap is going to give him probably lethal very soon.
Yeah, he clears board. I believe he breaks one shield here to go for the 2-turn kill.
Yeah, I would do that, but if I did that, I would have used Lyra Giga to break and then attack with Lucky Lex and keep Petrova untapped. But really, it's completely irrelevant in, I think, just every case. And since Rothis lets him choose, he's just going to get rid of his little chump blocker and have more than enough with the Cryptic Totem to bypass the shield triggers and take game 2. We're 1-1.
Absolutely. Yep. 1-1, and we come down to game 3. Phantomach
Yeah.
on the ropes that game.
Yeah, that was really the Totem midrange deck just firing on all cylinders. Like, that's what it wants to do. You saw the early curve. We saw the Lukia and Pela this time with the Petrova and even some Mysterios action, and it closed the game exactly how it wants to close the game in, like, any matchup where there are shield triggers to be concerned about. That was how the deck is supposed to run.
Right. Ideally, Totem wants to see, and there could be some argument there, but like one of the best plays Totem has is 3-4 Lucky Alex Techno Totem, because that board has almost no answers. It should kill at least one thing on board, minus like a key spell from another deck. So that those two cards in combination are why or were at least the basis for Totem midrange. There could be an argument for maybe another Techno Totem versus the two that it's running right now.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of on the fence about, I don't know, for me, it's all about the Lukia and Pela. Like, even if it's not a curve, like, just having one of those two cards on turn 3 does a lot of damage in a lot of matchups. Pela goes down early. Interesting. I mean, it's weird to think about the hands. Usually a multi goes down if you got it, maybe, but, like, I really value Pela in the mid-range mirror, especially when we know Gorby's not running any, like, I don't know, what could Light Dark Nature, Totem midrange even play? There's no really efficient blocker kill that he has access to. No Gallic or Windax. So I don't know. I value Pela highly, but you might just have 3 in your hand. Who knows? But hey, if you have 3 in your hand, that's good. 3 Pelas is good.
Yeah.
So I wonder what you're holding.
I'm having trouble remembering this match, and Christian and I just kind of started recording these without watching them ahead of time. So I don't have a ton of insight into what my hand is this game. So we're as invested in this match as you guys are right now. So
yeah, Luki is another maybe questionable decision, but like there's a lot of multis, and I could see where he took a lot of time to think about that. So he's probably has a curve in mind. I imagine he's not planning to skip turn 3, or he would not have put Lukia down. So he's got a plan. Probably involves Quixotic this turn. I'd have to.
I think so. I think that's the point. I don't think you mana Lukia if you can turn to Quixotic. And
yeah.
So.
Hopefully he has a follow-up, right? It would feel, I think there's argument to, if you don't even have a Quixotic, you try to just play the Lukia if you don't have any other 3s, like, because that's such an important turn to not miss. As expected, Carl has a second. Hey, you're back. As expected, you have a second Pela there, which kind of explains why the first one went down. And we're seeing, wow, that's very bizarre. He played that very differently than last game, and he won last game. He just attacked with the Quixotic.
Yeah.
I wonder why. I mean, he hit definitely the most damaging shield trigger there, but even like another, like a Colon would have been, not the worst. Trading Pelas.
He opts out of playing the turn 4 Loco.
Oh yeah. Wait. Yeah, if he had hit Colon, Pelas would have traded, and then your Colon would have just traded with Pig, and you wouldn't have had to play a creature that turn. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the attack had a lot of really bad things, and he didn't play the Loco, but he might not have had mana. because that was his first darkness card in mana, I think. No, it wasn't. He had another locomotive in mana. I am confused.
Yeah, baffled, and he skips on 5 that turn as well.
What is he holding? Just Terrapits?
I don't know, but Mysterios also went down in mana on turn 3, but
I
can't imagine that the Terror Pit took him that far off of his game plan.
Yeah, I mean, if Mysterios goes down turn 3, I mean, no, he had another Mysterios in hand, so I get that. Like, he did value the Mysterios, but you did discard it last turn with the Gigabalza.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah. Like, holding 2 Mysterios is kind of a bit much, but he wouldn't have thrown that away. It's such a high value card, and these decks are ridiculously creature based, so it gets tons of value. And then it soaks up a Terrapit probably. Petrova on a naked board, this kind of has shades of game 1. You never want to play Petrova by itself, especially against the Rothus the Traveler deck. But you don't have Rothus, you have Mysterios. But again, you're already ahead by 3 creatures, and that matters a lot, especially because your hand might be low, but he has to play creatures because it's a creature-based deck. And you're either going to get a lot of value from this Mysterios, or it's going to soak up his turn and a Terrapit. Yeah, I wonder what he's holding. I imagine it's like Cryptic Totem and like another Petrova or a Terrapit. I don't know why. Well, no. Yeah, I don't know what he's holding, because playing that Locomotiver sounded pretty juicy to me. I'm with you.
Yeah, and you didn't speed this up at all, right? So
That I did, I think. It's 1.5, I think.
Gotcha.
Let me double check.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're 1.5.
Okay. So, yeah, he has Terror Pit there, which deals with 1 Mysterios, but then I drop a second one.
You do drop the second one. And yeah, to the point of like playing 1 in mana, if you had played double Mysterios, like I don't think you would have complained, right? Like I think holding 2 is sometimes greedy, but I don't think having 2 on board is bad by any means. It can be quite powerful.
Right. Yeah, with the you may effect, you don't have to draw. So
yeah, and this is a good Rothus the Traveler, no matter how you shake it.
Yeah, destroying the Gigaballs there. Armorloid, just I can't remember.
I don't think that makes a difference because
Petrova.
Yeah, he's playing Locomotivers instead of Gigaballs, but he's going to be calling Guardian with that one, I think. Which I actually do you call Guardian with that one, because it buffs more of yours than his? Maybe you don't. Maybe you call something else. We're not gonna know, because if they trade, then
Yeah, so like technically I can trade Pela into Pela.
I would do that for sure.
Yeah. So
that seems easy because you're so far ahead. You don't need to.
Yeah, I've got a massive hand at this point. So
I think maybe you're thinking about breaking a little bit, and maybe if you break, you'd want to keep the blockers. But yeah, I think you can afford to wait a couple more turns because you have the mist to give you more more gas.
Point, my Pela is still at 6,500 with his Petrova on board, so like he can't technically swing over anything with Petrova.
True. Yeah, playing the naked Petrova on Guardians against a board with significant Guardian action. It's not really where you want to be. I wonder what he would have discarded with that Locomotiver all those turns ago. Hey, I mean, Pinsir Scarab isn't horrible against Mysterios.
Huge.
Yeah. It is pretty huge. There's a Phantomach, and now you have enough to easily break all of the shields. He's going in, everybody. 2 with Phantomach, 2 with Rothus, and he's got 4 more attackers against 1 shield, unless it's Holy Awe. Yeah. And even if it was Holy Awe, Gorby has nowhere near enough gas on board to threaten lethal here or kill enough things to survive the following turn. So that is it. Phantomach from the underdog to top 4 after a 2-1 against Totem Midrange. I'm going to get us back to our recording screen, and I'm going to reveal the bracket as it stands. So if you haven't seen Foul versus whatever it... if you haven't seen the first 2, avert your eyes.
Versus played Pegasus and then Hydras and
so yeah, we got Foul over Pegasus, Hydras over Declotans, and now the third deck in the top 4 is Phantomach. And what are your final thoughts as someone who was there for that game and now rewatched it like a month later?
Phantomach continues to feel strong. I think it just plays the mid-range battle really, really well, only because I think it has something that a lot of other decks in Duel Masters don't, which is that Alpha Strike potential. It can load the board with tinier cards. It can play the slate of Mystrios. It can do those things where it just kind of builds board present. It gets access to its own version of Locomotiver, so it can be a very annoying deck. And then Gigabalza just makes everything lethal. So kind of
Gigabalza.
in the same vein of Hydrus, but with the difference being is that making everything double breaker versus unblockable is just it gives the deck a certain power that can be very overwhelming very quickly and hard to come back from if it gets the chance to swing in with 2 or 3 creatures. Um, and then one thing I think I noticed out of this match is that Rothus feels incredibly strong. I think it might be one of the strongest armor lloids in that suite. The hyper sprint warrior. Like it's rare that you ever want to speed attack with it unless
Trades.
Phantomach's already on board. So, it's one of those cards where I don't know that it's doing, I think, what its intended purpose is to do there. With the exception of, I think I had a turn in game 2 where I could have swung at Totem with it, and that would have been a neat way to clear Totem because it matches its power when it swings at it. But that 1,000 base power is just kind of meh.
Yeah.
So,
No,
those
I
are
can
kind of
like
my
randomly trade, and I think I killed you in one of the top 8 games with just like stuff that wasn't Phantomach, but every other game the deck's won so far has involved Phantomach.
right. And
Um,
it's just heavily reliant on it, which is while it's needed, could also be a bad thing. So.
yeah. Rothus was strong. It's really strong against a board of only 1 Petrova. That's like the absolute best case Rothus that you could ever. Why does that happen so often? Yeah, interesting games for sure. I didn't expect the Totem's curve to be quite so bad. I know it sacrifices a little bit of the early game for sort of a mid-range year curve, as mid-range decks tend to do. But like, wow, that game 1 curve was atrocious. I can't believe there was no play until 5. So a little
And
bit of a
getting
bummer.
so punished in game 3, the first Shield Terror Pit, I think, was just the unraveling of the deck. So,
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, that was a
but yeah,
crazy Terror Pit.
yeah, very strong and happened very, very quickly, which I think just led to, it's unfortunate. Totem Midrange is a very fun deck. Again, it's one of the more truer mid ranges that we had coming into this, and I think of all the decks that fall into that category for us, Totem, this color combination. What is it? Junk, I think, is the name for it, or am I getting that right? Junk or
No, yeah,
Jund
some
or
some
whatever.
Magic players called it junk like 20 years ago or something. I don't know.
Right. But
Who
those
plays
color
Magic?
combinations are probably the most tested on this channel. We've tried that combination in a few different styles of this deck in the past, which is kind of why it made its way into this tournament. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Unless you got anything else,
Yeah, hopefully
leave
you
a like.
enjoyed. Yeah.
Yeah, leave a like, comment down below. Let us know what you guys think, what you guys saw. I'm gonna let Gorby know when this is coming up, so he'll be in the comments to give his kind of thought process on games 1, 2, and 3. Let you know where his headspace was at as we played through this match, and yeah, stick
Yeah.
around for
Which
the
deck
final
is
top 8 match coming up in the next couple of days.
yeah, Mana Burn versus Fire Nature Rush is going to decide who rounds out the top 4 and faces Phantomach.
Yeah, so stay tuned, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, peach.
Each.